Welcome, everyone, to the Ajay and Tucker and Nathan Long discuss movies portion of this podcast. We are here to discuss a new film that we recently watched together. First time since watching Don't Worry, Darling back in September of 2022.
We only make events for the real movies.
We only watch real cinema. That's what we do. But we're here to discuss another film. It's somewhat of a weekly podcast. Don't put us at that time span or time frame, but hopefully we can make this somewhat of a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
We drop new videos drop new reviews every other week, or every week, that is. But this time, this review, we are going to be discussing the new film directed by Dave Patel called
Monkey Man.
All right. So before we begin our thoughts or give our thoughts on the film, Nathan, discuss or tell us about the film. What is the film about?
Yes, this is Monkey Man, Dev Patel's directorial debut. It's marketed as a action revenge film. Dev Patel plays a young man who has been wronged by a group or two powerful figures in the Indian government, and it just chronicles his kind of journey to take his revenge out on these corrupt individuals. There is fighting, there is neon, it's kind of a superhero film is something I realized while watching it, but those are the broad strokes of the plot.
So how did you feel about this film?
I really, really like this movie. There are moments where I think I might absolutely love it. I'd have to give it a rewatch before I was certain. But yeah, no, just I really, really like this movie. I think a lot of actors like to try their hand at directing. Sometimes it goes pretty well. Other times it's like, don't try that again. For Dev Patel, I think he really knocked it out of the park with this one. I think I would love to see him direct more, especially action cinema like this.
Yeah, I love this film.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
Obviously, it's not that hard to guess that I love this film, but I really did love this film. For obvious reasons, but I love this film mainly because of not only action. Obviously, the action sequences are great, but the fact that this film was made with a $10 million budget.
Yeah.
And the action sequences, the cinematography, all of it looks like it could be made from a multi-billion-dollar budget.
Easily,
or
yeah.
multi-million-dollar budget that's in the nine figures, easily. And the fact that he was able to take this little money, and I'm assuming maybe 6 or 7 million or 7-8 million was made for the movie, and then 2 million was spent on the advertising of it. I assume maybe the figures are wrong, who knows. But the fact that he was able to take a film with this low of a budget and turn it into a film that's considered one of the better action films of this past year really speaks volumes in terms of the shift of cinema.
Yeah.
But in terms of also creating characters and stories that are personable.
Yes.
And personal on a deeper level. And I think this is a film that, even if you take all the action scenes out, it's still a great film.
Yeah, no, it's very solid. I'd say the action is almost it's not even half the movie. It hits hard when it's there, but a good chunk of the movie is just a lot of it's dedicated to the story and the character work, and a lot of it's a lot of the background politics that are going on within the film. It dedicates a lot of time to setting those up before it lets you have some of that action, and that's something I appreciate. A more thoughtful kind of action movie, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely thoughtful. This film is being shown in a very different light in India, because obviously it's making fun of the government, or not making fun of the government, but essentially poking at the truths or what not about the government.
Yeah.
So because of that, this film isn't really being shown in the theaters in India. If you're from India and you're watching this, let us know if it's running in a theater near you. Probably not. But and let me know how you're able to watch this film. That's also very important that I want to know about it as well. Maybe pirated it, who knows. But this film is essentially going after the Indian government, and it's because of that it's not being showed in theaters. It's being shelved. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with this film in terms of the theatrical release in India. But again, I love this film a lot, and despite what people may feel politically, like I can still watch this film and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think you can too. It's not just applicable to like the existing government within India right now. I think you can even show this film 50 years from now, 100 years from now, and it can still be that great.
Yeah, no, actually, I think I did do some reading up, just like light stuff on the production. It actually kind of had like a tumultuous kind of production. I think
Absolutely.
It originally was like a Netflix movie, and then COVID hit. It was like announced in 2018. They announced the movie. It's going to be Netflix. COVID hits. That sets them back. And then Netflix sees the content of the film. They're like, we can't sell this in India. We won't have an audience. And so they wanted to, cut it entirely. And I think it was only after, Jordan Peele. Yeah, he saw it. He's like, oh, no, I want to take over producing, and that kind of brought it back to life. And I think a lot of it was shot in like Indonesia, because of the production, and a lot of it is shot using like
iPhone. There's like one steadying crane
GoPros.
shot of like these people, and it's basically like very similar to like how Sam Raimi directed Evil Dead, where it's just like on a crane, but without like an actual handheld camera. It's just an iPhone.
Yeah, no.
So basically, Dave Patel, the director of the film, just used an iPhone as like a sweeping crane shot of all the people there.
Oh,
and it looks indistinguishable from like any other shot.
No, it looks amazing. Just I like how they took something that could be a hindrance on the production and turn that around, and it becomes like one of the strengths of the movies, because the visual style and just the general energy of like the way everything is shot is so it's scrappy, and I really like that quality to the movie. Like when it's just like shooting regular, or when it's in the fight scenes, just like I think it adds a lot to the personality of the film.
All right, so we gave our general thoughts on the film, but let's dive deeper into this film. So let's go right into the first act of the film, in which we get an introduction to Dev Patel's character, known as Bobby.
Bobby is a fake name he uses. I think like in the credits, he's just his character's name is like, Monkey Man. They call him Kid, but like, Bobby or Monkey Man.
Yeah, so Bobby, Monkey Man, there are many names that he goes by, but it's basically in the first act. To spoil it, so if you haven't watched this film, spoiler alert, head into a different part of this portion of this review, maybe timestamp below if you want. I don't know if I'll add the timestamp below, but timestamp
You'll have
below.
to guess.
You'll have to guess. But in the first act of the film, it basically documents Bobby and his essentially living in the slums of India, trying to get in this promotion, this like, I wouldn't say wrestling promotion, but in this like boxing, like martial arts fighting promotion.
Yeah, the
taking losses, being a jobber essentially, and getting paid to essentially lose on purpose. And it basically discusses his life, how he came to be, how he got the hand. Not so much, it doesn't really dwell that much about it in this act. It definitely does it in later parts of this film. But
it gives you hints to kind of his past, but most of what we see, like when we meet him initially, is just like he's kind of, he's purposefully losing fights in an underground boxing ring for money, and essentially like his entire like purpose in that boxing ring is to just kind of like be the loser and take the hits.
And also within this act, he basically take the hits. And within this part of the film, we also get a sense of Dave Patel trying to learn about who truly and find the whereabouts of the person that truly killed his mom as well. Yeah, which is very interesting. And in one of the parts of the film, we see, I think it's the person that runs the hotel, or not the hotel, but like a very like exclusive, private, only for the wealthy.
Yeah, the private like party room,
private
kind
party
of area.
Yeah, so we see the person that runs it, and then some kid essentially steals it, and then retrieves it to Dev Patel, and then Dev takes the card and tries to apply for a job there.
Yeah, no, he gets like some kids to steal her wallet, takes it, and then like returns it to her and is like, I brought you your wallet, give me a job so I can not murder anyone in this hotel.
Yeah, and during this part as well, we see Dev try and befriend a person that works there in the kitchen.
Yeah, one of the I think he's just like a member of like the lower ranking of like whatever gang runs this hotel. His name's like Alphonse or something like that. Just basically Dev Patel's fun little sidekick.
Yeah. Definitely the comedic part of the entire film. Definitely brought the quips.
Yeah.
And brought the humor when need be. But we get essentially see him try and befriend this guy, and I think he also tells him, "Hey, come to this underground boxing ring
and
bet on me because I know I'll lose, and I can get a promotion." And he does that, and he loses, and he gets a promotion. And one of the parts in this film that I really enjoyed was like the use of blood. I really think that in terms of the blood, people are going to look at the action sequences and be like, "Oh, obviously there's blood." Right, it's an action film, so there's going to be blood, especially if it's an R rating, which I think this could have been PG-13.
Really?
It could have been PG-13, but I think the use of blood kind of made it so that it was rated R.
Yeah.
Other parts as well, but mostly the blood. I can definitely tell, definitely made an R rating. But even in terms of like the way that Dev Patel and his character uses blood within the sink. You know, where he's snorting out blood. To me, like that was like a sign of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like one could look at that and say, oh, like he's trying to be vulnerable. It's like him being at his lowest of low, essentially.
Yeah, and he's pretty much at that point throughout the entire movie, almost at his lowest. It's funny you bring up blood because in the underground boxing fight, I think they do have that rule, like the promoters, just like, you only get your bonus if we see you bleed. So, yeah, that's a good note. Nice.
Yeah. So blood is definitely a driving force within this film, but not in the way of just being like shocky for the sake of being shocky. It's not just used to like elicit a reaction. It's used in more like sadder moments or like in the moments where you can really see the character for what it is. So yeah, he gets the promotion.
He moves up to like the next level in the hotel, which is like the big like rich people. It's like almost like a brothel up on high.
And we see the introduction of what character?
That's when we kind of meet two characters. We meet the man. He's like a corrupt police chief who murdered Dev Patel's mother in the past. We also meet one of the women who work in the brothel upstairs, and like her and Dev Patel kind of like, I wouldn't say it's a romance, but it's just like a mutual, like we're both
kinship.
Yeah, we're both like in this like terrible place, just trying to like find the means to survive, essentially.
Yeah, she's sort of like the Bond girl, but not in terms of just being viewed as like a romantic interest.
Yeah, no, she's
definitely
got her
in
own
the
stuff going
same
on.
vein as like Ava Green, but not as like active, like in terms of like the actual script.
Yeah,
like a more mellowed down version of Ava Green and Casino Royale.
Yeah, I see that.
So then we see the introductions of both Sobata Dulipala, which is obviously the woman in this film, and the person that essentially killed Dev's mother.
Yeah, it's like I guess the main villains of the movie. It's like this police chief who, like, spoilers, wiped out Dev Patel's village, and then above that guy he's like a spiritual leader.
Yeah, so we also see the spiritual. I think his name is Baba Sai or something. Not Baba Sai, but Baba something. Something Baba. But he's essentially like this like Hindu snake oil salesman, con artist kind of guy who uses religion as a way to back up his coalition, and then uses those individuals to then create another coalition, but within a more politically, in-tuned, base. And essentially it's a person that's just using like the fears of people to create this group of people that just have very, outdated ways of thinking. And I really enjoyed this character a lot. I think you definitely see like the true evils of like the main dude, the main boss, the final boss, within like the later, in terms of the later end of this film. But we also see Dev go after it with the dude that essentially burned down the village and killed his mom.
Yeah, the police chief.
And we see that was essentially the first fight scene.
Yeah, that's the first fight. That's essentially the end of the first act, is his attempt. There's this nice little, his plan is like he finds like this little like street dog and trains it to like bring him a gun. Gets the gun past security, and he's gonna shoot the police chief in the bathroom, but like the fight goes wrong. He kind of gets his ass kicked. He has to like fight through like several other guys before he's like,
he goes through, I think he breaks the fish tank at one point, which I
Yeah.
thought was hilarious. I love that part a lot.
breaks the entire fish tank to like get out of the
There's
bathroom.
a little bit of a skirmish in terms of finding the gun,
Mm-hmm.
and then some, I wouldn't say henchman, but somebody that works within that evil group tries to fight Dev as well in terms of getting the gun.
Yeah, no, it's a big skirmish. It's chaotic. All the fights are just like very stressful and chaotic. The movie has like a little bit of shaky cam, but like
I didn't mind the shaky cam. I was going to
no.
mention the shaky cam because a lot of people view the like shaky cam as like a net negative. I kind of view this in the same way, say like the Bourne trilogy, where they use shaky cam, but not to the point of like, okay, I'm exhausted.
It's not there to like obscure the action. It's there to like add an element of like kind of like visceral nature to the fighting. Like it's like it's not like clean fighting. It's not like the John Wick comparison will come up everywhere if you like look for this movie, but like it's not like that where like it's so like almost over choreographed. Like this is just like very like dirty and like scrappy and visceral and raw, and I think the shakiness adds a lot to that. But yeah, no, this fight scene is just like it goes from the bathroom to like the like garage. He and his sidekick
They go into a rickshaw. That is their vehicle of choice.
Yeah, the
no
rickshaw.
Aston Martin, no McLaren, no bike, just a clean old rickshaw that they use.
There's a street chase in the rickshaw. It takes them like the rickshaw crashes, takes Dev to like he's running across the rooftops before he's finally, spoilers, shot and like just falls into the water. And that's essentially where like the first act ends.
Yes, and he was arrested at one point. I think you mentioned that, but
yes, very briefly.
He was arrested. He gets out of it. He gets out of his handcuffs. He essentially gets shot. And as you mentioned, that was the end of the first act. Heading into that second act, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a tight, exhilarating sort of film. You can definitely see the John Wick comparisons, but I think after the movie, you also mentioned Raid.
Yeah.
How and which is this? Because I haven't watched Raid, so I want to know like what are the similarities in terms of these two films.
I'd say the action, it's again both movies, this and the Raid, both. It also helps the Raid was like made. It's an Indonesian action film, and it's just funny when I was researching. I'm just like, oh, they shot in Indonesia. That's why it felt like the Raid. But both have this like it's much dirtier. The choreography is like it's so much messier. Almost you feel like you're watching a real fight, and just the kind of general in Monkey Man, he's like ascending like the floors of this hotel, and that's the entire kind of setup of the Raid movies. Is it's a SWAT team fighting through like floor by floor an apartment complex, kind of taken over by this gang. So that's where those two comparisons come in, like the nature of the action and just kind of like the nature of like the escalation, like fight to fight.
Yeah, I was seeing an AMA by Dev Patel, and he says, some person asked like, hey, what are some inspirations for this film? And he's like, obviously, films like John Wick and that sort of nature, but also like Korean films as well.
I got that
like,
too. Yeah.
Old Boy and
Ooh,
Bittersweet Life. So you can sort of see the comparisons. He's paying homage to them. I think that's great. But I think one of the things that really makes it like unique is like in terms of like the environment of it all, in terms of like the come up, how he lived his adolescent life, his youth years, and how that gets the better of him in terms of finding a motivation to avenge those who killed his mother. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think that's what makes it so unique. Is that like obviously there are existing tropes within this film,
Yeah.
right? You know, you see the pretty woman who helps out the guy in the end. You see the funny guy that's
The
there for quips.
sidekick.
Yeah, the sidekick. I think at one point he's like, it has like a great exterior, also better in.
Oh yeah, the rickshaw. He's like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Nice bumper, good headlights.
Yeah, just funny quips like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So yeah, we get into the second act of the film where he goes into the lake or ocean lake, and he is essentially revived by.
He's revived by the inhabitants of a temple, and they kind of like nurse him back to health. And this is like a group. I think a lot of them are like transgender, and like they've kind of been like harassed by police because like they say like you don't belong in this temple, even though they're like this is ours, leave us alone. And so they kind of like revive him, and then that's when the movie, I think that's when I start seeing like why I call it a superhero movie, the superhero comparisons, because the leader of like this small group in the temple is like you're fighting this fight, but like you're doing it just because like you want to kill these guys, but like you got to look around and see like they're doing all this terrible stuff that like, you know, that should be your goal, not stopping them just for this personal reason, but for like a greater sort of good. Like he's got, and they nurse him back to health. He finds a nice little community there. There's a nice training montage. I like the editing of when he's punching the bag. He can't find any rhythm to like his punching, and then the guy with the
Zakir
drums.
Hussain, tabla. So the guy's name is Zakir Hussain. He's a very like respected, well-renowned tabla player. He's won multiple Grammys, but that's the drums in the situation. He's playing a thing called a tabla.
Oh, nice!
And it's like a very nice scene.
Yeah, no, it's a great scene. He's hitting that. What's it called?
Tabla.
I'm not going to say that because I will destroy it.
No, you can say it.
But yeah, no, he plays it so Dev Patel can keep rhythm, and that's just like and that's when, you know, Dev Patel starts getting into the swing of things. He's like, I'm going to remake myself as like, yeah, the Monkey Man.
Yeah, like he definitely has like a
superhero.
Bruce Lee physique to him.
Yeah.
You know, and the guy who helps him, you know, realize what he's truly fighting for is definitely like the Yoda to him. He's definitely the guru-like figure to him. And also within this act, we get to see what truly happened to Dev's mom.
Yes,
There were like inklings of it in the first act, but I think with like the nightmares that he had, harkening back to those early days of his childhood, you get to really see in full form.
Yeah, I think the leader of the temple gives him like a hallucinogen and is like, you're going to go on a trip basically to like confront your trauma just like head on. And we get the like pretty much full flashback where I think it was the holy figure like declared his village like a holy ground and was basically like vacate. They didn't, and then it was just a massacre. The police chief hid Dev Patel's mother, hides him in the house. The police chief comes, murders her, burns the house down, and Dev Patel has these scars on his hand, and that's from him trying to like take his burning mother out of the house, but it doesn't work out. And that's kind of the whole flashback and his reason for wanting revenge.
And by that point, I feel like the whole audience was truly invested.
Yeah.
In terms of like the film, and in terms of his character as well. When we watched this film in the theater, it was us two for like a good 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
And then eventually people showed up. I think one person brought like two of his children.
Yeah, that's a weird movie to bring your kids to, but like pop off, you know.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I remember. No, I shouldn't say that, but I do think that like I was gonna say like I remember this YouTube channel of like this older dude with his like kid, and they would listen to rap music.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they would like interview like the rappers. And it was like 4 or 5. I forget the name of the YouTube channel, but it was so fun while watching it when I was in high school. But it kind of reminded me of that when we were at the screening.
I mean, hey, Kids can handle some brutal murder every now and again. It's fine. Yeah, no, the theater was small. It was like us and maybe like 5 other people.
Yeah, 5 other people at most. At most. But the entire second act is essentially just a training montage of just him rediscovering his own roots, other people confirming that, okay, you're not just fighting to get revenge, you're fighting for this purpose, and that other people have also been at the expense or have been, victimized at the expense of this brutal totalitarian government. And I think that's essentially the second act. Are there any other parts in this in the act that you like kind of kept in mind or remember?
Something I did keep in mind was, again, I'm coming at this from this is a superhero movie angle. There's, I think at one point, one of the residents of the temple is like attacked because the police say they don't belong there, and like if they want to stay there, they need like money to keep the temple, and so that pushes Dev Patel to go back to the fighting pit, to the underground boxing club, and this time like he tells like he's got like another like child sidekick. And he's like, bet on the monkey man.
I think this is the start of the third act.
This is the start of the third act?
Would you consider it the start? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
So long as they're still at the temple, I consider it. But like, this is like end of the second, start of the third. He,
By the way, before you get into
it, please.
I do want to say, whoever the ring announcer was.
That's Sharlto Copley.
So good.
Sharlto Copley is slowly becoming like that character actor who, when I see him in a movie, is like, this movie is like now like 10 points better.
It gave me like J.K. Simmons from Spider-Man vibes.
Yeah,
when you see him, you just like automatically you just fall in love with him.
Yeah.
For some reason, you just look at him and like, oh my god, like this guy is really like viewing this seriously.
Yeah.
But not in a way where it's over dramatic or melodramatic. Just like, okay, like this is an action film. I'm going to do my role. I may, ham it over the top a little bit here and there. But it's all good and fun, and it's there to service the characters that are on screen. I think he does a great job in terms of being a supporting actor.
Oh, yeah, no. Sharlto Copley, dude's always a winner. If you watch any, like, Neil Blomkamp movie, he shows up. He's just everywhere.
Yeah, he's sort of like, I would say, the Adrian Brody to Wes Anderson. That is, like, what Sharlto Copley is to Neil Blomkamp.
Exactly.
That's exactly it. So we essentially see Dev Patel coming back, stronger, more, no longer this like jobber-like figure. Now actually takes it kind of seriously and realizes that there's much more money to be made. Not money to be made, but in terms of like, now I'm fighting with a purpose.
Yeah, now he
instead
can
of just like
do
taking
something.
losses.
Yeah.
And you see the first fight and what happens.
Yeah, that fight, oh god, now that I'm remembering, it's so great. He has like his little kid sidekick, like bet all the money on the monkey man. They set him up to fight another guy, like the King Cobra, like that kicked his ass earlier in the movie. Like knocks him out with like one kick, and like the entire crowd is silent, and Sharlto Copley's like, I don't know why, but I was remembering how Chris...
All right there.
It's like, all right then. It's like,
all right then.
For some reason, I was remembering Chris Rock after he got smacked by Will Smith. Just like the bewilderment of, how do I come back from this?
Anyways, best director. He didn't even say it correctly.
But, beats that guy. Sharlto Copley gets like another fighter who's dude's massive, like 7 feet tall, literally dressed like a caveman. He's got a leotard. They give him a big bat with spikes on it. That's a really like fun fight that they have in the ring. But Dev Patel is able to defeat this new adversary. Everyone in the crowd is like, finish him. He's got the bat in his hand, but he drops it at the last second. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna kill this guy for entertainment. And that's when everyone starts shouting, monkey man, and that's when I'm just like, okay, this is just a superhero movie.
Yeah, essentially. Monkey man. I mean, it's based off of the Hindu tale named Ramayana. So it's the monkey man character is essentially just a play off of Hanuman. Hanuman being like this very like, peaceful individual that's like very noble and resilient and cares for his friends and family, and that's sort of what the film is essentially trying to pay homage to.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the story too, is like Dev Patel's character kind of following the story of that mythology.
There was like one cool part in there's many cool parts in this film, but there's one in which like he opens like his chest, like Hanuman, and then you sort of see like the inspiration and what drives him essentially.
Oh yeah, no,
that entire montage I thought was
yeah.
So he beats him. He beats him up.
He
takes the earnings.
Takes the earnings, leaves them at the temple, like just like with a note, like "Thank you for inspiring me," or like for giving me purpose, something like that. And then that kind of kicks off like the last act. That last like 20-30 minutes is just like his assault, second like attempt at assaulting the hotel. He bleaches his monkey mask. Like wears it, and he's like watching on the rooftops.
And he takes it out. And he takes it off.
He takes it. That did make me sad that he puts on the mask just to punch two guys and then takes it off. I'm like, really wanted to see him wear that mask throughout the entire thing, but it would have been weird.
But he came in with a vengeance.
Wearing
all black. I mean, I wore all black too. And,
he's inspired.
Yeah, I'm inspired. Actually, I didn't do this on purpose, by the way. I want to be very clear here. A lot of people are going to watch, oh, he was very much inspired by the film. No, it's just because like it's laundry day. That's
just a happy little accident.
Yeah, it's laundry day, and these are the only clothes I have right now that I don't want to put in the wash. So yeah, this is not because I'm so inspired by the film. It's I do love the film, but it's because I have no other option. So anyways.
Yeah.
Where were we? So he dresses in all black and he basically just goes on a kill spree.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the fight takes him from like the kitchen of the hotel up to like there's the short little like elevator skirmish where he murders a guy with a knife in his teeth.
He goes into like the back into the same like room / brothel, I would say.
Yeah,
and like starts like beating people up, and then more of like the henchmen start coming out.
More of the henchmen start like flooding through. That scene, I think that's where I was getting the Korean like revenge thriller like kind of vibe from that, 'cause like not just like the like sick black suit, but there's just the music is like this lovely like piano almost as he's just dispatching these guys. And
the music was interesting because even early in the film, like I think Police's Roxanne was playing as well.
Yeah,
which I thought was very like it was like very slowed and like something that you would hear from like some TikTok account, just like like speeding it up or like adding slow motion to it. It kind of sounded a lot like that, not to like disparage the person that was behind the music or soundtrack, but I think it served a purpose in terms of like just adding like an illusion or adding more grandeur to it.
Yeah, no,
you can definitely hear in this part of the film as well in terms of like him fighting the henchmen.
You know, the music in the movie. There are a lot of needle drops in the movie where I was like, oh, okay, we're cooking with gas now.
I was so mad they didn't include Punjabi MC. They should have included Punjabi MC. It was in the trailer. Why not include it in the film? Maybe it was in like the after credits or maybe in the post credits.
I remember the trailer music more than almost anything.
The whole purpose of the film.
That really goes hard.
The whole purpose of the film was for Punjabi MC and Jay-Z to like rock it. And it wasn't there. I was sad about that.
That's a demerit from Monkey Man.
Yeah, that's one negative. Not enough Punjabi. Not any Punjabi MC. Not any Punjabi MC. One JID song. No Punjabi MC song. But anyways, so we see, the henchmen clearly outnumbering.
Yeah, they surround him, and then that's when his friends from the temple come in, and they're like all decked out in this garb. It's like, I think the fight takes place during, is it Diwali?
Diwali, yeah, during the festival, yeah.
And so they're dressed up and like they've got like sickles and brass knuckles. And that's when another needle drop happens and there's just this loud shredding guitar. I thought I was playing, like, you ever play the Doom games?
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
It just sounds like music from that. I'm like, oh my god.
If you guys don't know what Doom is, it's basically if you took Master Chief and Halo but made it like better.
Yeah,
and like easier and like more of a lifespan instead of just like the first 3 games in ODST and Reach.
But like the
that's Doom. That's Doom.
Quick Doom recap for you guys.
Yeah, I love Doom. I mean, I love Halo, so that's basically the
but
inspiration.
Like the music from that scene just starts shredding so hard. It was wild.
And I think also in this action sequence, there was also the main dude. Not the main dude. That's Babak. That's the religious guy. But the person that killed his mom was also within this fight scene as well.
The police chief. Yeah, no, he kind of like runs away when he sees that like everyone's getting their ass kicked. He moves up to like the next level of there's like the brothel level, and then there's the other level above that where it's like still a brothel, but like now you get cocaine at it.
Yeah.
So like he goes up there, Dev Patel follows him, and that's where their final confrontation between him and the man who directly murdered his mother takes place.
And if I remember correctly, that's when Sobata Dulipala also kills the main dude.
Oh yeah, kills one of the managers of the club, the woman who was in charge of like getting the girls and the drugs in. Like, yeah, no, this manager has Dev Patel like behind a bar. She's shooting at him, and then she comes out and like decks her with like a serving platter. And then it was so weird. Dev Patel is like reassures her like it's okay, you did what you had to do, and then cuts off this woman's finger. And I thought, well, that's a choice. But later on, he uses it to like get to the higher level of the hotel. I'm like, oh, okay, you weren't just collecting fingers for fun.
Yeah, totally for like a fingerprint or something.
Yeah,
fingerprint scan. But so yeah, I think there's so many action sequences that just like stand out to you, right? I mean, that one point in which he takes the knife and like uses his like teeth to like even inch it closer within that elevator
into the guy's neck in the elevator. Yeah, because his hands are like grabs. Who just
That was
right
the moment
there.
where we both like just audibly like lolled.
Yeah,
but like in support of the film, like in like supporting the film. Like,
yeah, no,
like,
that is such a great moment in a movie full of really great moments.
So then we see Dev Patel fight off the guy who killed his mom.
Yeah, no, that's a terrific fight, and he just gets angrier as the fight goes on. Like, even though he's winning easily, just like the guy's like pretty much practically dead already, just keeps shouting at him to like get up and keep fighting. I don't think we've mentioned at all, but like Dev Patel, like not only is he a good director, like it's a given that the man's an amazing actor, and just like he's just selling it throughout this entire movie.
I mean, watch Lion, watch Slumdog Millionaire. I think there was also another film that was released in 2018, 2019 that was somewhat of an action film, mostly of a drama film called The Wedding Guest that he starred in as well. It's not in the same vein as this. This is more action packed and like much better of a movie, but you can definitely see like the inspiration of like, okay, how can I learn from this director so I can like sort of put this input into this new film.
Oh, and how can we forget The Green Knight, of course.
Oh, The Green Knight. But that wasn't much of like an act. Like,
yeah, not an action movie, but just like another good Dev Patel movie.
Yeah. I mean, Dev Patel, I think he's one of the best actors working today.
And like slowly, if he keeps doing this, might become one of the best directors. Who knows?
One of the best within the action genre.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about Dev Patel, and obviously this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but you think of like the actor that's like, okay, you see him once every 5 years. He's in an Oscar-nominated film. He gets nominated, and then he goes back into his little cave. You know, he goes back into like he's like learning from like the Marlon Brandos of the world, where like you just do your little thing, go back in your cave, don't mingle with like the MCUs of the world. But now with this film, it opens up the possibilities of like, hey, there could be a Monkey Man extended universe.
Yep.
I mean, do we want that?
No. I don't even think the movie ends in a way where it's like we can keep going. It doesn't feel that way.
But it's making a return in the box office. It has
good.
nearly $16 million in terms of of money accumulated.
That's good. I do
on
like
a $10 million budget. So it's making profits. So again, these studios, all they care about is green, right?
Yeah.
They just care about money. So if it does make a certain amount, if it makes double or triple its money, who's to say that there wouldn't be a sequel?
Maybe. Listen, if Dev Patel is behind it, if he's behind that camera, I'd be all for it. Yeah, no. He dispatches the man who murdered his mother,
the politician that was being run by Baba and all. He decides to scurry away. Dev remains untouched. Yeah. And then we see the final confrontation.
Yes, the final confrontation between
the Emperor Palpatine and
essentially the Emperor. And it's not even really a fight.
No.
Really, it's just like The villain spouts some like villain stuff at him, just like he's like, we're alike, we're not so different, just like you come here, and he's just like, you can just like it every time like this guy's just talking, it cuts back to Dev. He just looks so exhausted with this man speaking at him, until finally like he gets close enough. The guru like gives him stabs him with like a knife.
Twist the knife as well.
Twist the knife. It's like
Clockwise.
hidden in like one of his boots.
Maybe.
I think so. It's like he's like wearing these like these sandals, and it's just like he keeps the knife hitting in his boot, which is I think a fun detail to kind of show like this guy isn't as spiritual as he makes out to be, because he's hiding like knives on him, but stabs Dev. He's unfazed. Well, not unfazed. He got stabbed, but like it's hurting, but like dispatches him, stabs him back. There's a neat little moment where he's like, "Don't kill me. I can give you whatever you want. Like money, you name it. You can have anything." And then Dev does like the one-liner, not even a one-liner, but he's just like, "It's up to God to judge you now." Just like stabs this man to death. And the movie essentially
very, very much like, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you.
You never learn to mind your surroundings. If you finally learn to do what is necessary, I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
Yeah.
Like very similar to that.
The movie kind of ends right there. He's basically like losing blood because he's been stabbed several times, and just like he has this like one final like reflection of his mother, just like a nice happy memory before he collapses on the floor, maybe dead, maybe just in pain, we don't know, but the movie cuts right there. He's achieved his revenge, and it ends. Directed by Dev Patel.
Yeah, cut to title, cut to credits.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the film. One thing that I've noticed in terms of the criticisms of this film is that people are saying that it's an overcomplicated plot. What do you say this is an overcomplicated plot?
I would not say it's overcomplicated.
It's not.
What
are we doing? Why are we doing it? We want like original films, and as soon as we get into an original film, people are like, "Oh, it's overcomplicated." No, like this is not Primer. It's not Tenet. All right, those are overcomplicated, and I still like Tenet. I mean, you know, forgive me, but I still like that. But this idea that this is an overcomplicated, it's not an overcomplicated plot.
It's not overcomplicated at all. I will make a note. It is a small nitpick, but I will say after that first act, I will say that the second act, the start of that, when he's like kind of like rebuilding himself, that initial start of that, I think leans a little slow. There was a part of my brain in the theater thinking like, am I slowly checking out of this? But I think there's the strength of like the emotional journey that I became invested in, and then from there on the movie was smooth sailing. So I'll admit that maybe it can get a little slow, but like overcomplicated feels weird. This is not a complicated movie. It's
not at all. Not in the slightest.
It's a revenge film.
Yeah, it's taking existing tropes but modernizing it within the current time.
Yeah, no, it takes, the usual beats, cliches, if you will, but like, twists them around, utilizes them well to make a solid story from start to finish. So overcomplicated, my goodness.
That is sad. I mean, I'm sorry he's not shooting beams up into the sky with some guy that's trying to take over the world. I'm sorry there's not like an airport scene in which both people are fighting and it's overly drawn out and CGI'd out.
We'll get that in Monkey Men 3.
Yeah, Monkey Man and into the monkeyverse. I'm not ready for that, dude.
No.
I don't want Monkey Man 3 or 4 or 5 or.
If they make a sequel and just like they just revive him and it's like 7 other Dev Patels, just like we're from the Monkeyverse.
Oh,
We've
no.
revived you.
Oh yeah, and it's just like it features like cameos of Riz Ahmed, and like it features a cameo of like Hassan Minaj for some reason. He's just telling his emotional truths to him. He's like, "Oh, white girl rejected me at prom." Anyways, out of my system. Anyways, this was a good film. This was definitely one of my favorite films of the year. We didn't mention the main poster of the film.
Oh
of
yeah,
him
it's like,
and like basically in black with like this red scenery behind him.
yeah, it's blasted out
Red
with like
visuals.
red, black. It's I think it's like that scene like when the elevator opens at the end and it's just blasted with like red and he's just on the forefront with black. That's a gorgeous shot and the poster is also very nice to look at.
This film's great. I love it a
Love
lot. So you said like it on bordering on the verge of love it.
I will need to rewatch it again before I can confirm that I do in fact love it. But I'm practically there already. It will just take another rewatch for me to fully like cement that like, oh yes, I love this fucking movie.
I love it a lot. Obviously it's borrowing from the John Wicks of the world, from Raid, from other films of that sort. But I still think it makes it unique, inherently its own, with a great, backstory. And Dev Patel just knocks it out. I mean, it was funny when we were seeing the credits to the film, where it's like directed by Dev Patel, starring Dev Patel,
Produced by Dev
Patel, written by Dev Patel. But I mean, you see like the overall like journey of how this film was made. Apparently, like some financiers that were behind this film were bankrupt.
Oh, I did not hear that. Dang.
And at one of the fight sequences, like I think Dev Patel broke his hand.
Oh,
And he had like a nail in place. And yeah, you see the craning shots of iPhones being like, of these iPhones just showcasing these groups of people within this Diwali celebration. It's like, all of that is just great to see. And to see the fact that he made this on a $10 million budget,
Which is, it's still a lot of money, but for movies, that's pretty
nothing.
reserved.
For an action film, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Netflix budgets?
Oh my god. Did all that money just to put like 3 people in front of a green screen?
Just to get Ryan Reynolds to say something quippy at the end of a serious, emotional conversation between two characters?
Boy, am I glad this movie was not at all touched by Netflix.
Oh yeah, I'm happy that we're seeing movies on the big screen. I think that's where movies should be. I don't like this streaming. I don't think streaming. Back in the pandemic, you could definitely make the case for it, but now I think movies are meant for theaters.
Yeah,
obviously the movie going experience. People may say fuck the movie going experience. I understand that, but like if somebody's like crying in a theater, I don't know, get over it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the expense of being in a public setting, is that those things happen. But I would much rather see it in a theater and like actually financially support the film.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing a film that I know is only being like used as like money laundering, like Roadhouse on Amazon Prime. If you want to see a great action film,
If you want to go see Monkey Man, don't watch Roadhouse.
go see Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal
and
Conor McGregor.
MacGregor.
Yeah, great film. Great ADR in that film as well, might I add. But yeah, overall we love this film. It was great. Any last words in terms of this film and like what you want from, not only I would say from Dev Patel, or just in terms of like action films of this nature?
Action films of this nature, I'd say I'm definitely leaning toward, you know what? I'm going to say I hope Shaky Cam kind of makes a comeback. I like these more visceral, messier kind of fight scenes.
Everything is clean now.
It's too
MCU has
clean.
made everything clean. Everything is like hoity-toity and cookie cutter.
Yeah.
There's no like emotional investment. When you see Shaky Cam, not only in terms of action, but I think the Safdie brothers do a great job in terms of like using shaky cam.
Oh yeah.
But not in terms of like like a combative way, like not just to like film combat, but like in terms of like progressing character arcs and stories.
Yeah, no, as a way to like kind of put you in the mood of the movie.
Yeah, I think this film, what I'm trying to get at here, is the Safdie brothers. I think would have been a great. I mean, obviously Dev Patel did a great job directing this film, but in terms of like the second act of the film, that's when I think the Safdie brothers could have taken over.
Yeah, no, if we can get Dev Patel and the Safdie brothers together on a project, I think that'll be gold.
That'd be great. Unfortunately, they've broken up.
I don't think you can break up with your brother.
No, in terms of
I
directing,
think he's still your brother.
He's still your brother, but in terms of directing,
Oh, okay.
they're sort of going the Liam and Noel Gallagher route.
You can't believe people when they say like, I'm not directing anymore. It's like, you will eventually when the money runs out.
Yeah. So overall, we really did love it. Obviously, this is no Roadhouse. You know, it's not as great as that film.
Nothing is a Roadhouse.
Nothing is Roadhouse. Go watch Roadhouse again. 2 thumbs up for Roadhouse. You know, really good film. Not at all campy. Very serious. Great ADR. Yeah, just a great film. Roadhouse. But yeah, we're here to say Monkey Man is really good.
Monkey Man's amazing.
And we recommend it. And I think with that concludes another episode of this podcast. Any parting words?
No, not really.
Not really. Yeah, no, not
really.
here either.
I love Monkey Man.
Yeah,
Monkeys are great.
Monkey Man. I would say that this is one of the better films of the year. It's up there for Dune Part 2 with me. I would still say Dune 2 is my favorite film thus far of the year. But that's not to say this film stinks, because it's up there. It's definitely one of my favorite films I watched.
After
this
Dune
past
2,
year.
for me, it's right after that.
Yeah, and then after that, it's Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I still need to watch a few other films to really like gauge a list. But so far, I really do love it. And hopefully next time when we talk on this pod, it can be about Civil War or any of those films. We can definitely get Ethan. We'll get Ethan Cannon to be on the pod. He's a very nice guy.
Special guest star.
Yeah.
This space is for him.
Yeah.
And he'll fit because he's small.
Yeah. I say kid because if you look at him, you're like, oh, he looks younger than us, even though he's like 5 years older.
We met him through the Big Brothers program.
Yeah, Big Brother, Big Sister program. He's a very nice kid. So yeah, we'll definitely talk then. But for now, Monkey Man, 2 thumbs up. And that's about it. You'll definitely hear from us soon. You'll hear from our lawyers soon in case you guys leave any comments that are bad. No, we're joking. We're joking. You're joking. We are joking. Please leave comments. We need your attention, and we need your comments, positive, negative, whatever it may be.
We're comedians. Without attention, we don't survive.
Not at all. We'll leave our Venmos down as well, because we're doing this for free for you guys. So we'll leave our Venmos down, pitch us some money to continue this. Like and subscribe. That's it. Bye.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?